And we can resume.
Good afternoon, everyone, and council, staff. I'll call the meeting to order at 12:30 p.m. And the first item is the territorial land acknowledgement. Before our meeting gets underway, I would like to formally recognize the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Alderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Alma-Calderman is located on the Mississauga Anishinaabe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. The Township of Alma-Calderman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. At this time, at this meeting, we have a moment of silence for our fallen soldiers and citizens. And hopefully we can remember the atrocities that are going on in the world today. Thank you. Item 4, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Approval of the agenda as circulated. We have an addendum added. It was 10A. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council session of Thursday, July 7th, 2022 be approved as circulated. Have a mover, please. Deputy Mayor Gibson, Councillor Hogg, all in favor? Carried. Item 6, approval of the minutes, 6.1. We had special council session, asset management meeting minutes, June 9th, regular session, June 2nd, and regular council session, June 16th, 2022. Be it resolved that the special council session, asset management meeting minutes of June 9th, 2022, the regular council session minutes of June 2nd, 2022, and the regular council session minutes of June 16th, 2022 be approved. Now mover, Councillor Philp, second. Councillor Booth, all in favor? Carried. Item 7, is there any business arising from the previous 3 minutes? Seeing none. We have our reports from our department heads. Item 8 and 8.1 is a report from Daryl Hall, the building permit summary for June. Be it resolved that the report from Daryl Hall, CBO, MBEO Planning Assistant, dated July 7th, 2022, rebuilding permit summary, June 2022, be received and filed. Mover? Councillor Hogg, second. Councillor Philp. Are there any questions, council, for Daryl? It's pretty straightforward. Seeing none. Daryl, do you have any further comments?
No, I don't think so, but thank you.
None?
We're pretty well right where we were last year, so.
Carried. Item 8.2 is another one, report from Daryl. And this is changes to the noise bylaw 73/2013. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman concur with the CBO MBEO Planning Assistance Report dated July 7th, 2022, regarding update to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman noise bylaw number 73/2013. And further, that bylaw number 73/2013 be repealed and the necessary bylaw be passed and passed to adopt the changes. Can I have a mover? Councillor Phillips, second. Deputy Mayor Gibson. Any questions you'd like to ask Daryl? I'm sure Daryl's got some comments he'd like to make as well. Are you on mute, Daryl?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Do you want to come up?
Sure.
We better have a question for him now. He's coming over there.
Yolanda, she can move, can't she?
Hello. We're not sure if we have any questions for you now that you're even up here.
We
Where you
thought
landed.
thought you were stuck on that blacktop.
The film, because you were moving. Thanks, Daryl. Council, do you have any questions for Daryl? Before we let him explain, or you want him to explain changes? I'll let you talk, Daryl. I don't want you to come all the way up here and then not be able to speak.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. Yeah, these are a few small changes with the noise bylaws. With some of the outcomes concerns that have been over the years that added and maybe help us with a little bit of enforcement. Maybe give us a little easement in case we have to go for extra enforcement. So really, the changes were just a couple definitions we added: electronic devices, defining and excessive noise also.
For definition. And we added in provisions, we just added the amplifying of sound in the provisions and yelling and shouting. And then in section 2 of the provisions that you can't do, we added with respect to our discharge of firearms, just to state it as per the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman's bylaw, firearm discharge bylaw. So those were just a few little things that because of the concerns we have, we thought we into it.
So this would resolve maybe part of the complaints with the short-term rentals.
I mean, we don't know if we'll ever get everything resolved, but it will help us with explaining it when we're on site on what we're talking about as far as noise. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Anything further? All in favor?
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
You as well.
Oh, sorry.
Not over the weekend, but at the first of the week we did with just an Airbnb. That was it. No noise complaints or no fireworks or no anything like that. I didn't receive any, so yeah, no, it was all good. I had one complaint from my wife, but
That'd be the most important one.
That was a good weekend.
If I had a driveway like that, I don't think I'd get any complaints.
Okay, item 9.1, this is Public Works Department. Report from Brian McMillan, Manager of Public Works and Parks and Rec, and this is his departmental update. Be it resolved that the report from Brian McMillan, Manager of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, dated July 7th, 2022, Republic Works, Parks and Recreation departmental update be received and filed. Mover? Councillor Philp and Councillor Hogg. Any questions or concerns on this? Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Just a comment, and I like seeing the line painting done on some of our secondary roads, those township roads. It makes a huge difference. You know, those narrow roads and they're hilly. So I think that's great. I know there's been a little bit of negativity on it, so I just like to say, from my perspective, I see it as a good thing.
Yeah, and especially at night as well. Okay, all in favor? Carry. Item 10, this was added to the agenda. This report, which is Parks and Recreation Department, report from Jennifer Steen, Parks, Recreation and Cultural Coordinator, dated July 7th, and it's regarding the baseball diamond on the Roseneath Agricultural Society. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Almac-Haldeman receive and file the Roseneath Agricultural Society baseball diamond report. Can I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Gibson. Councillor Hogg. Any questions or comments? Councillor Booth.
Yes, through you, your worship, to Jen. Jen, just a couple of questions and just a concern. Do you know how many people are in this ball league, approximately?
I did hear from the league organizer, and there is 56 players in total.
Jen, you're muted.
Well, says I'm not muted. Can't hear me?
Yes, she's coming up too.
Might as well come up, Jen.
Okay.
Guess we'll do in person probably from here on out.
Well, yeah, county's going back in August, so we should be going. Yeah, we should go next meeting.
Oh, thanks.
How well you talk after you run up those
After you go up the stairs, out of breath I am. So there's 56 players in the league.
And another question is, do you know how much each person pays for registration?
I think it was done per team, so it was 150 per team, and then it was based on how many players were on each team. I don't think they had the same amount of players. They don't have the same amount of players on each team, so it was 150 per team.
So how many
and
teams?
There's 4 teams.
4 teams, so for $600. Okay. Okay, and I guess the comment I had was, thank you very much for a detailed report, a lot of information. I guess Dave McLennan, our insurance guy, says it is acceptable practice to give the leagues or renters a grace period of 1 year, which is no problem. But with the recommendation, it talks about that we won't review this until it's time when the agreement is up, which takes us to 2023, which is going to give them 2 seasons. So I'd like to see somewhere where we contact them after this season and then talk to them that, you know, if they intend on playing next year, then they're going to have insurance or something. That's my one thing that I see in there that, I mean, this year they're playing already. There's not much we can do, but it sounds like it's going to cost us money too. Will you be coming, or Troy be coming back to us with how much this is going to cost us for the inspections now and the maintenance?
The inspections are currently being done at the park, so that won't be, it'll just be added staff time for the maintenance and equipment to be able to get the equipment up there. Currently, we don't have that capability right now.
You're going to have to be quiet so we can hear and the audience can hear.
So I guess that's my concern then. How are we going to maintain the diamond up there? We don't have any grooming equipment up there. We only have the one trailer that uses our grass cutting stuff. So how are we looking at that we're going to groom the diamond for them?
Well, currently in the way it's laid out in the agreement, the maintenance that we're doing now is what's laid out in the agreement, right? So we're just maintaining the diamond once a year. And then anything that comes up, like for example, the ruts that were there, we fix that if it's a health and safety concern. If we're looking at charging leagues, we're not charging anybody to use that diamond right now, right? It's not part of our rental fee schedule. If we are going to do that, then yes, we have to look at how we're going to be able to maintain that diamond.
Are you talking about dragging it?
Well, yeah, she's got a concern that if we're going to maintain it, you're going to have to start dragging the field and stuff like that. So if we're going to maintain
I'm wondering if the Agricultural Society has some of that equipment, because they always drag track and whatnot. Is it that much difference?
I don't know, as long as somebody's doing it, because if we go out there and inspect it and say that it has to be dragged, we currently don't have the capacity to do it.
Well, I would think that there's
In the past, they have dragged the diamonds themselves. They had a makeshift, ground agitator or whatever. So they did it themselves.
Who's that, the Roseneath Fair?
Yeah, part of the committee or the user groups, yes.
Because they've always dragged the track when there's anything.
So like I said, if it's acceptable practice to give the league a year's grace, then I think this is their year's grace, right? And then we have to get our act together that maybe we have to notify them that we want to renegotiate this or whatever and look at it. That if they're going to come back next year, they're going to have a waiver of insurance, because we demand that from all groups, hockey, baseball, whatever, that if you're using it, that there's insurance, because guaranteed if somebody gets hurt, they're going to come to the people that have the deepest pockets, and that's usually the township. And then they're going to want to see your inspections and everything else. So
we may have to involve the Agricultural Society in that as well, because they're the owners. We don't own it.
no, but in the agreement, they've given us permission to use the soccer field and the baseball diamond. So basically, they've given that to us for the 5 years, right? And if
which ends
2023.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know, maybe it's a question of the chicken and the egg, but if the Agricultural Society owns it and has given us permission, is the league playing for the Agricultural Society, or are they playing for the township? And I just don't know where we stand on that. Like, there needs to be a whole lot more than just, you got to provide insurance, because if we're going to have them pay to play there, that diamond there also should be brought up to the standard of our other diamonds. So the ones in Grafton, and it's absolutely nowhere near that, and that's going to cost a lot of money to do that. So I guess I'm stuck. I don't want to see the township out on a limb for any liability issues, but I know that league's been playing for years and years, and to the best of my knowledge, there's never been an issue. I can't imagine that there's never been an injury when somebody's been playing ball, not to say that that won't happen. But I think we have to be careful too about taking too much ownership about what's happening there, because is it ours to take?
Sorry, I lost myself. Go ahead, Councillor Philip.
Thank you, and through the mayor, I'm wondering what it might cost us as third party for liability insurance on this. Is this something that's just a catch-all, Nicole, or is this, you know, is there a broken out cost for us to have third party coverage on this piece? Just wondering what it might cost the township. Anything?
Through the mayor, I would have to check with Dave. I'm not sure.
You'll have to come up, Nicole.
Okay. We must or send it through maybe Jen knows this. I don't know.
I can say, Councillor Philip, that I
You need to be closer to the mic.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you. I did get an email from Dave McLennan that says that the township policy does not list the Agricultural Society in any way. And he didn't notice that that was a requirement in the current agreement. So he didn't read the agreement that way. It just states that the township must carry liability insurance for the fairground area covered under the agreement. So that portion of the land is covered, but not the Agricultural Society. Does that make sense?
For someone as simple as I am, does that mean that we're picking up the liability on this, or we're not? It looks like we are.
Yes.
But we're not paying a specific amount of money for that, or it's just a part of the insurance package.
I'm not sure if Nicole has any more information on that, but in the agreement, so in the agreement between the township and the Agricultural Society or the Fair Board, it just states that the township carry liability insurance for the area covered under the agreement. And in that agreement, it states which areas it is, and it is the diamond, the playground, and the soccer field.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So we should wipe the soccer fields out for next year for sure, because there's no soccer.
I think that we as staff have to, you know what, it's already mid-July, almost mid-July. They have a month and a half to go on ball. And I think we as staff can sit down with, you know, the Ag Society and look at this agreement and, you know, whether it's a possible new agreement that both parties agree to, but I think it's something that, you know, we look at over the winter months and come up with a, you know, a happy meeting for both sides. So,
okay.
And the other thing, they don't belong to a league where they travel. So there's only 4 teams within the community, and they show up on a Friday night and who's ever there plays, from what I understand. So it's more like a pickup, but it sounds like they're willing to pay some of their expenses. So I'm willing to turn it over to the staff and let them come up with whatever. The insurance may not even be very much for, like, it might just be something that's better to be added overall to the.
That was my point.
Because it's, you know, people want to get out now as well after being in for 2 years, and we need to encourage that. Councillor Booth?
I'm going to disagree with that. I'm sorry, but you want to use the fields, and if we're going to allow them to use it, then I think if you look at all these other neighboring municipalities, 90% of them, if you're a user group and you're going to use it, doesn't matter whether it's 12 people in the league or 150 people in the league, and this one's quite big with 56, you got to have insurance. They're going to sue us now. as Deputy Mayor Gibson said, we've been lucky so far, but the last 2 years, there's been no baseball. But it only takes one person to break their ankle or something, and then they're going to sue us because we have the insurance for it. And then you're going to have a lawyer, and you're going to have to fight it and everything. So when it's simple to say to them next year, if you want to play there, then you're going to have to provide insurance, and you're going to have to make that as part of your registration. I think the other comment I want to make is, and I'm hopeful, Troy, like you said, is that in the fall, when this baseball is over, we think about this agreement. Because I'm going to be honest, quite frank with you, whoever wrote this agreement, it's totally one-sided. When I look at this agreement, we are allowed to use the baseball diamond, and we're allowed to use the soccer field, which the soccer field's not used at all, the baseball diamond once a week. And in exchange for that, we are giving them almost $5,000 worth of rentals in a year, if you add up all the rental agreement that they have there. Plus we're cutting and picking up the garbage in the field, and we're cutting the field, which in 2018 with a contractor costs us almost $10,000 a year when we had it contracted out. So we're looking at a total cost of this agreement costing the town upwards of $15,000 a year, so that we're going to let one group play on a Friday night. So I'm hopeful that the town is going to take a look at this seriously, and maybe it's the next council that has to look at this to say, you know what, the room rentals and that with some of these groups, I have no issue with that. Us cutting the grass for them and things like that, when we're getting no use out of the diamond or anything like that, I can't see it.
Thank you. Anything further, Sherry?
And through you, Mayor Latchford, I don't know a lot about the history, but I think this is a historical agreement that goes back to the provision of the land for the Civic Center. And the land was given up by the Agricultural Society for the building of the Civic Center. And I think that agreement, you know, was born of that goodwill that the land was given. And it's just been, you know, year after year as those agreements come up, it's been renewed. I like the CAO's suggestion that, you know, maybe it's time to look at that agreement. Things have changed, and staff bring back a recommendation. But I think, you know, we've got a year. I see that piece of property up there as the north part of the township's recreational facility that mirrors what is happening with the Haldeman Memorial Arena. So there's nothing other than that for people to go to walk the track or kick a ball around or throw a ball. So I think there has to, you know, we have to approach it with a little bit of give and take. And I think staff are very capable of bringing something back on the ball.
And also that's why I think it's important that the Agricultural Society be involved in those conversations as well. They've got a lot of the history, so. We need to change this motion now. Be it resolved that Sherry and Deputy Mayor Gibson and Councillor Hogg made this motion. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Almac-Haldeman receive and file the Roseneath Agricultural Society Baseball Diamond Report, and further, I'll just do it in point form. This agreement be reviewed in the fall.
But that's not what it says in the report. It's recommended.
No, I know, I'm adding. So I'm adding, is that if you want this to go on for it to be talked about and you want a report.
Yeah.
Right? So reviewed at end of 22. Fall of 22.
And then the idea of working with the fair board.
Well, that's standard. In the contract, it said you have to give them 90 days to notify them. So you could talk to them and say, we want to renegotiate and look at certain
Okay, with the township and agricultural society. But you want the report from the baseball people. Is that correct? Those that are playing, they've got the finances that they've spent and.
No, the report from staff, it was.
Yeah, I know it's a report from staff, but you do still want to talk to the organizer or no?
And
No?
I see that as two separate motions. I'd like to receive and file this report with these recommendations, and then another motion to say, and give staff direction to move ahead and commence negotiations or before the end of that agreement with the Agricultural Society. I think it's two separate things.
Okay, that makes it clear. So let's vote on the first motion. Made by Deputy Mayor Gibson, seconded by Jim as written.
The only other comment that had been made is to let the baseball league know that the grace period is this year.
Yes, that's what I was. Okay, yeah. Does that need to be part of this motion?
I would suggest that it is.
Okay, so I'm going to add to that motion then that the baseball group be notified on the grace period. When the insurance, grace period for insurance, and this is the fall of 2022. Correct?
You just need to say grace period.
Ends 2022.
Yes.
Okay. So that wasn't amended a motion. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now the next motion. You've got it not worded. Are you making it?
A study.
I think Councillor should make that motion because that was.
I'd like to make a motion that the town staff notify
township staff
notify Roseneath Agricultural Fair. It says in the contract 90 days notice, to maybe give them 90 days notice in the fall that we would like to renegotiate the agreement. So just off the top of my head, Troy, if you're looking at October, if you give them October, November, December, that means in January you're negotiating, or maybe you start in September if you want to have it done, because to be fair to them, you want to make sure that everything's done and wrapped up before ball starts. And then that way you can go to baseball, because the town's also going to have to look at how are we going to groom them, if we're going to allow it, what are we going to charge, and what kind of insurance we're looking at, right? So it's all. So if that made sense, Pat, then just to give the permission for town staff to give the agricultural fair 90 days notice to renegotiate the.
I could just make a comment on the timeline. Councillor Booth, the agreement, I just have it in front of me here, is 90 days to terminate the agreement, but notice for renegotiations is 1 month.
Oh, okay, so then good.
To negotiate is what?
Renegotiate the terms of the agreement is 1 month's written notice.
Okay.
I'd like to see somewhere in there a little softer language, like a study be taken. Study be taken by the township in conjunction with Agricultural Society. It will come to the same end, but it just leaves, in my mind, much more positive approach. So a study, I don't know, is that silly or reasonable?
I'm thinking of another word.
And what is the study?
Well, I mean, it's yeah, I guess the study doesn't come to conclusion, whereas the original statement comes to conclusion.
What about joint negotiation?
Study and recommendation.
Well, I think it's the processes, because we've already discussed about the water treatment. So that was a part of that negotiation. That was one thing that has come to light that probably is a bit antiquated within that agreement. So this is something else that's come to light there. You know, and I guess it really is a negotiation to me. It's not about us telling them, it's about who's, you know, how are we wording that? How are we wording the agreement to say they own the land, but we'd like to use it for our residents, for the enjoyment of the township residents. So I would say maybe like something like, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to put words into your mouth, Greg, but about, you know, to enter into negotiation, to update the processes as listed within the agreement. Something like that.
So it sounds more positive.
It's more positive, and it really is, hopefully will be a win-win for them too, because it, you know, it may define things better. You know, they may be having some of the same questions about, you know, liability and who's responsible for what.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I think they're grown-up people. It's all in the way that Troy or your staff approaches them to say part of the contract says we can renegotiate. Because of the baseball issue that came up this year, we have a few concerns that we want to make sure that we're covered and you're covered, you know, that have come up. So we would like to renegotiate. So, and then that's when sitting down with them, you can go through all the concerns and try and, you know, get a happy medium.
And I do think staff can put a positive spin on it and work with them. Like it's, I wouldn't complicate this too much. It's just leave it with staff and we'll work with them. As Deputy Mayor said, maybe they have concerns of themselves that they would, so it just gives an opportunity to get everything on the table, look at it. So we can.
And it also gives them an opportunity if they've got the basics, if they choose to join a bigger league, right? Everything's already in place, or will be already in place. Okay, Pat, have you got that motion? Because
So I believe that staff would provide 1 month's notice to the Roseneath Agricultural Society to enter into negotiations to update the process of the agreement between the Agricultural Society and the township.
so you're moving that, Councillor Booth, second? And second by Councillor Hall. All in favor? Carried.
I just like to add though that back in the day when I was in the ball committee, we took care of all our own maintenance and our own liming of the diamond, and that all come out of the fees for our own fees that we collected. So I don't expect that there will be any maintenance for township to be done there very much. I don't know.
Yeah, no, when I started in 2012, they did the same. So they did the dragging and the lining and stuff themselves. So I don't know, I think it'll be a good discussion that both parties have and we'll come to a good agreement for everybody.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Thank you. We're on to item 11.1. This is the Treasury Department. Hello, Nicole. We're having some technical difficulties with the first floor. This is the Centerton Public Works Facility Addition loan. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Alma-Calderman direct the treasurer to proceed with applying for a debenture from Infrastructure Ontario for an amount not to exceed $3 million, and that bylaw 87-2022 be passed to provide for the above borrowing through Infrastructure Ontario. And further, that the treasurer and the mayor be directed to sign the loan application signature page. And further, that council approve the borrowing to be amortized over a maximum of 30 years. And further, that the Centerton Public Works Facility Addition loan report be received and filed. Have a mover. Councillor Hall, second. Councillor Phillips. Okay. Do you have anything you wish to explain on this before we go through that will help council? Pretty good report. I think it's all right there.
Thanks, Mayor. I believe everything's in there. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Any questions, Council? Further questions? No? Good. Glad to see this in the works and the building being done. It was something we've talked about for years and years. All in favor? Carried. Nice you included all the papers as well, Nicole. It explained a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Administration, item 12, 12.1. This is a report from Pat Kemp, acting clerk, and this is on Grafton drinking water system. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Alma-Calderman received the report from the acting clerk dated July 7th, 2022, regarding the Grafton drinking water system, and further that Council approve the recommendations contained in the report. Can I have a mover? Councillor Booth, second. Councillor Phil. Okay. Any questions of the council for Pat? Lots of detail in this too, Pat. It was all just easy. All in favor? Oh, Councillor Booth, do you have a question?
Yeah, just through you, just to help out Pat, on page 62 of page 175, the water committee, there was a couple of issues that the water committee wanted us to bring to council. Issue number one is the driveway repair at the water treatment plant. The reason that this has come to council is because the previous quotes that they got for the driveway repair, companies now, because of I guess, I don't know what, because of, I guess, pricing and everything else that's happening now, when they're giving you a quote, it's only good for 14 days. So they gave us a quote, it was only good until the end of May or something. And so Lucy now has gone out and got a quote to fix the driveway, which has to be done. So that's why we had to bring it to council right away. So it looks like they've got that for, was it 9,000?
13. Isn't it?
13. Well, we had set a limit of up to 13 because we thought if it went too far, then we wouldn't do it. But I'm not sure, Troy, what was it? 98. So that's why it's come to council to pass that today so that we can go ahead, because the quote's only good for 14 days to get that done.
So Murphy Paving.
Murphy Paving, I believe, yeah.
Come in at that. Mm-hmm.
Issue number two was the roof that we've recommended to council to defer this project to 2023. Issue number three, which doesn't really have to come to council, but it just for information, is the water modeling study that they were looking at having a contractor do. Isn't just going to cost a couple of $1,000s. It's going to cost anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. So the water committee suggested it come back to council that be left with the developers, that if anybody's looking at doing development in the hamlet and they have to do a water modeling study or anything like that, that not be on the taxpayers of A&H or the water users, that the developers pick up that cost. And that's currently, I believe, what happens in Coburg right now. Yeah. Issue number four, which just for information is St. Mary's Cemetery. Repairs were attempted to repair the leaking service at St. Mary's Cemetery, but due to the ground instability and depth, the repair was halted. The service from the curb into St. Mary's Cemetery, which I believe they use to water the flowers or gardens or whatever there, is non-repairable. They can't, if they go into excavate it, things cave in. They're talking about possibility of, you know, some of the monuments and stuff like that. So they're going to inform St. Mary's that we're going to shut it off at the street. If they want to have that service, they're going to have to pay for it because it's very expensive to run the water line in there. So I think, Troy, you were going to go with Lucy and meet with St. Mary's?
Brian and Adam from Lucy have met already. So I don't know the end result, but I do know that they met with the church, St. Mary's.
Okay. And the other issue for council was issue 5 was the replacement of the raw water flow meter. It's recommended by Lucy to purchase a raw water mag meter. It had to be done right away. So instead of waiting to come to council, it was purchased out of the emergency repairs for $3,900. And that had to be done as an emergency right away. We couldn't wait. So, but just for council's information.
Yeah.
That's it. Just a little update.
Good. Thank you. Anything further or any questions? All in favor? Carried. Item 12.2. Oh, no, that's the one we did.
No.
No, this is
separate because we did get the quotes in. And so we were able to obtain a quote for $9,800.
So we just need the motion for this one.
Yes.
Right. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Almac-Haldeman approve the quotation from Murphy Paving, Inc. in the amount of $9,800 plus taxes for excavating and repaving the truck fill lane at the Grafton Pump House. Can I have a mover? Councillor Booth, second. Deputy Mayor Gibson, all in favor? Carried. 12.3, applying for the Ontario Trillium Foundation. And this report's from Pat Kemp, acting clerk. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Almac-Haldeman received the report from acting clerk dated July 7th, 2022. And further that council provide direction to the acting clerk on what project they want her to apply for under the Ontario Foundation OTF capital grant. Can I have a mover, please? Yep. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Hogg. Okay, we need to have a discussion here. Any questions first to Pat? Councillor Booth?
Through you, your worship, to, I guess it's not really to Pat, but maybe to Troy too, or whatever, is some of the suggestions here. I know it says it's based on past and new suggestions or whatever, but I'm just not sure that we should be looking at anything really to do with the Memorial Arena, whether we're looking at grants to spend money or that there when we don't even know what really we're going to do to the arena, right? We already did get a grant, I believe, through Jennifer Steen, wasn't it? That we were going to spend upwards of a few $1,000s in the lobby of the Haldeman Arena. And I believe there was money to spend at Alnwick Center too, right? Because some of these things where it talks about, for example, when it talks about accessibility upgrades to the arena that would look at repairing the arena floor or installation. Well, we already know the arena floor and installation, and that's like $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. So even if you got the $150,000, that's nothing. That probably wouldn't even, you know, pay for them to come in and take a look at it and give you a design thing. So just, I guess, and I'm not really sure upgrading the boat launches, which sounds like a great idea, but even if you got $150,000, I'm not sure, you know, I guess we need a plan. What are we going to do to the boat?
Well, I don't think that would even fly because the boat launches are federal. So this is Ontario funding. Mm-hmm. And I would scratch that one out because if we apply anywhere for boat launches, it should, I think it should be federal dollars. But we have had that on the list before. So it's good to keep the list up. Councillor
That was just my concern about, there were some things in there that are just way
would be too much money.
Yes. Through the mayor, thank you. Yes, that would be my comment for sure. Let's look at what the financial possibility is. And one of the things that did catch my eye and has been a concern for the township is providing public washroom access. It's not, I remember it crossing our desks that people couldn't come into off the 401 and there was no place for them to go to the washroom, and it was a concern. and therefore my interest twigged when I saw the idea of a viewing area, picnic and shade shelter and storage. You know, a comfort shelter, you know, might be in that price range. I suspect it would be affordable, and we could have a public washroom there so that if the Memorial Center was ever closed or being renovated, or people were on holiday and they didn't have staff, then there would be access to the public, and that our local entrepreneurs could say, yes, there is a public washroom in town. If you go down to such and such, and you'll find that there's running water and some shade there, and you can have lunch and your business. So I like that idea. I think it's affordable. The other thing that isn't on there that I've talked about for years is the hot dog stand concept down at Wicklow Beach. I definitely think that's a win-win for our kids in the communities for summer work, and also encourages people to use a very nice facility to put their boats in and out. And of course, that would also have a washroom built in. So I don't know why I'm on the washroom ride today, but in both cases, I think it would improve the township. So that would be my interest there. Thank you.
Any further?
I was just going to mention that what do we need for the arena this year? Is there going to be any extra maintenance costs?
I have heard of none to date. Like, it is what it is right now. It's still running, still going. We're still able to make ice last year. So we'll run into, I would imagine, the same worries this year. You know, when we start up everything, is everything going to work? So yeah. We're basically, you know, it's almost month by month at the arena. So, but we finished off the season well. There was no big breakdowns at all last year. It closed quite nicely and stuff. So we don't anticipate any major, you know, disruptions starting it up again. So.
Deputy Mayor Gibbs.
Thank you. The upgrading the boat launches, we talked about that a lot, but we heard during the short-term rental public meeting about the problems that are being encountered by residents with the influx of people to those boat launches. So I think until we figure out how we're going to handle parking issues there, we shouldn't be doing anything to upgrade boat launches, which I guess maybe that's an obsolete comment, given that you've already said that that's, you know, a federal project anyway. I like the idea of taking something that's underused and making it better. So I like the idea of the old fire hall, but I guess we have to think about who are we displacing from that now, and can they go somewhere else? So I think that's being used by the fire department.
Yeah, and it's used quite well.
And I see it. I see them there a lot. So if they're making use of it, you know, I would say leave that one alone.
Are they just using that for storage?
No, they have full training there and everything. It's firefighters from outside of this area come in and do training there on weekends, and so it's quite busy. It's a busy spot.
Yeah, because I remember at the time of the build, they weren't going to need that at all.
Yeah, no. It's used quite a bit right now.
Well,
already.
You know.
Well, the other thing is what's listed to put in there can be in the committee room or the big room. Yeah.
So I like the suggestion about the outdoor facilities because I think we've seen that the shuffleboard has been well received, getting it back. And what I wasn't sure about is, what is a self-cleaning washroom? What is that?
An outhouse. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it sounds nice to have a great washrooms for people to come into, but if they're don't have a lot of ownership in the community. When I was on Hamilton Township Council, we had a terrible time with the washrooms at Bewdley, to the point where in the summer we were closing them down because they were so bad. You know, I don't want to say people are like that, but they had to be closed and fully cleaned, and sometimes you lost the sink off the wall.
That's why I think you've got a point there, and that's why I like the Wicklow Beach thing, because a lot of our locals use that, and it also is a tourist destination as well, and it would also be supervised because we'd have the canteen running there, so it would be there'd be sort of eyes on.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just an old course that I've been riding for a while, so it just didn't get on the list there.
Yeah.
But
so
well,
I
and the
guess
other
if I had to choose one out of that list, I would say the outdoor multi-use pad at the arena would top my list, because I think it takes in the widest range of age group that could come and participate, and this area is getting denser and denser in population, so it's nice to be able to provide those recreational facilities for them.
The only thing that I have with, is there user fees for those?
I don't think so.
Not usually. No, they're just strictly open recreational.
Because I'm a believer in user fees. Because at some point, even if you get the grant to get all that in, you've still got to have staff monitor them, clean them, or do whatever, look after the equipment for them. And 5 years, 10 years, or shorter down the road, they have to be new equipment and redone or whatever. I think it gets to be, it sounds like, well, it's free money and we can do this and it's nice. And I'm not saying, I agree with Sherry that it is something that a lot of people will use, but I'm still for user pay.
Depending on the size, though, you'll always have an opportunity to create revenue down the road, whether it's again, league or pickleball league or whatever, where you can get some membership money and stuff like that. So, but also too, we have that facility over at the Ball Diamond that, you know, the canteen portion that's partially already set up for outdoor, you know, washroom facilities too. So
there's water there, and our arena is open mostly through the week.
Yeah, it's scheduled a lot different than it has in other years. So,
but when you look at this, it's the same as Councillor, you know, if it goes on and no fees and it's all there for free, does it become later on what Councillor Booth was bringing up about saying a baseball diamond in Roseneath?
We talked about user fees, I don't know, a year ago or so. And I agree. At that time, we talked about people coming into the community paying a user fee, and people who were within the community and paid their taxes here getting a free pass, or, you know, as part of their paying their taxes. And again, I would draw it back to the Wicklow Beach concept. You could generate a considerable chunk of change if people from outside were paying launching fees, and that would more than cover the maintenance of, and again, I'm generalizing, but it would go a long way to pay the maintenance of that dredging every 5 years, is it? And the maintenance of that. So
I agree, because
it's a moneymaker. We've just been letting that go.
That should be run like a business. It's when you take your boat to some other place, you're paying.
You're paying.
And it doesn't matter where, and it's municipal, it's provincial, it's private, they all pay.
That's why I think you should expand it down there. You know,
we could
make it more, you know, put the little chip stand in there, put a washroom in there and charge them, and you'll never regret it, because it'll pay for itself.
I think so too. Yeah. I think the Almwick Civic Center, we could put a in that back room, put a pub, we could make money. So I don't know, what are we going to pick here? But, you know, when we're providing the ACC and other facilities and charging $2, we're just going backwards. User fees, we need to be really looking at user fees.
Well, I'd like to vote for, you know what I want to vote for. I think, you know, we upgrade the boat launch and chart and make user fees part of that process and make it something to be really proud of. I think we could do a lot there, and we know we've got the market already.
But I don't know whether, like Lake Ontario is federal again, right? So you wouldn't get money. That would, part of it would be out. So the decision is if we want to do, you take it down to the 2, whether you wanted to do something at Wicklow Beach or whether you do it in the community. But
well, before we do that, I'd like Pat to comment on whether Wicklow would be considered in the mix, if at all.
So I was just going to remind council that the grant supports projects that improve access to community spaces, programs, activities, and services, and facilitate community members' full participation in the life of the community, improve and build community spaces, make programs better and more efficient, and make better use of technology. So as long as it's open, that access to the whole community, that's what they're looking for.
the other thing I was thinking, this building, like you've got it mentioned, the current building is not totally accessible and upgrades are required. We're going to have to do that one way or the other. That's probably something the 150,000 could do. And we're thinking of the front entrance, right? Being able to come in on that level.
Yeah, so there's many issues within the building. And one of the things that staff talked about is having an accessibility study. Someone come in and tell us what would be required in order to make the building accessible.
Yeah, because they can come in the back door and get on the lift and come up here, but they can't go down the stairs. Well, depending on the disability.
Yes, so even when you come in the back door, you can come down the lift and get in, but you could go to the building department, but you wouldn't be able to go to like Nicole's office or any of the administration part at the far end of the building.
They'd have to come out. The stuff would have to come out. That's just something to keep in mind because I think that's down the road, which you get forced.
I think we really want to look at what is the criteria for that grant, because the more we can meet that criteria, the more success, the more chance of success we have.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think I draw it back to providing, providing opportunities for recreation within the community, I think is what they're looking for. And I don't think that includes user fees, based on.
Well, no, but I go on about user fees because I'm hearing them all the time at all levels, and this stuff gets expensive to replace.
Yeah, but this is an addition or an extension to the existing play area at the arena. If we were going to go with an outdoor multi-use pad, I think, Mike, there is an opportunity at some point to improve that boat launch, but I'm not interested in doing it right now with, and applying through a fund for that.
So we can look at a few of these projects and try and put some numbers on them, right? Because when's the deadline?
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
So I could bring back a report to council at your July 21st.
Yeah, and just with some of these projects and some of the numbers, so we know where we're going in case they're, well over 150,000, like what are we going to do type thing, or if we can keep a nice project for 150,000 or.
Well, yes, if you can get 150,000 and not have to add to it, because we should have basically an estimate of what the cost would be.
So we can take some of your ideas and put it in a report for next council.
Yeah.
And we can carry it on and we'll have something.
Yeah, we need more information than. Because if we're going to, whatever we're going to build, we want to be self-sufficient and the public like it, right? And not have issues with it. We'll leave it to you to bring back the staff. So the direction that council will provide on this today is that further information regarding our conversation here today and what we've thought will be brought back to council June 21st.
July.
Oh, July. Yeah, let's do it in July. Okay, good discussion, council. All in favor? Carried. So item 13 is our committee reports. Be it resolved that the Grafton Communal Water Committee meeting minutes of April 20th, 2022, the Alma Calderman Public Library Board minutes of May 9th, 2022, and Lower Trent Conservation Regular Board meeting minutes of May 12th, 2022, be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Schultz, second. Councillor Booth. Any comments or questions anybody has? All in favor? Carried. Item 14 is communications. We received correspondence from Enbridge Gas Inc. re 2021 utility earnings and disposition of deferral and variance account balances. OEB notice of application. The OEB's notice of application provides information on how to become informed and involved in the proceeding. Interested parties can apply to the OEB for intervenor status in this proceeding by July 8th, 2022. A paper copy of the evidence filed in this proceeding is available upon request and can also be reviewed or viewed on Enbridge's website. In brackets, EB 2022-0110-2021 utility earnings, disposition of deferral and variance account balances. Be it resolved that the correspondence from Enbridge Gas Inc. re 2021 utility earnings and disposition of deferral and variance account balances, OEB notice of application, be received and filed. Mover. Councillor Schultz, second. Councillor Hart. Any questions? Does this go on our website as well?
Because of the deadline being so close, we put it on last week. So.
Okay, that's good. All in favor? Carried. 14.2, this is the correspondence. AMO, Roma Board, and municipal engineers. Be it resolved that the following correspondence be received and filed. AMO Communications dated June 16th, 2022, re AMO watch file. AMO Communications dated June 23rd, 2022, re AMO watch file. Roma Communications dated June 13th, 2022, Roma Board, June highlights. And Municipal Engineers Association dated June 13th, 2022, read the retention of professional engineers of Ontario municipalities. Could I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Gibson, second. Councillor Philp, all in favor? Carried. Bylaws, item 15. Bylaw number 63-2022, and this is the updated noise bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw number 63-2022, being a bylaw to prohibit or regulate noise in the township of Alma Calderman, be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Mover. Councillor Philp, second. Deputy Mayor Gibson, all in favor? Carried. 15.2, bylaw number 84-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 84, 2022, being a bylaw to authorize the signing and execution of an agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Almac Haldeman and the Corporation of the Municipality of Trent Hills for the Township of Almac Haldeman to provide the Municipality of Trent Hills with fire protection services and be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Mover. Councillor Hogg, second. Councillor Philp, all in favor? Carried. 15.3 is bylaw number 85-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 85-2022, being a bylaw to authorize the signing and execution of an agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Trent Hills and the Corporation of the Township of Almac Haldeman for the Municipality of Trent Hills to provide fire protection services to the Township of Almac Haldeman be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Mover. Deputy Mayor Gibson and second by Councillor Hogg. All in favor? Carried. How many pages is it in? 15.4, bylaw number 86, 2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 86, 2022, being a bylaw to establish a joint municipal election compliance audit committee for the Corporation of the Township of Almac Haldeman and Northumberland County partner municipalities, and to repeal bylaw number 90, 2018, be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Mover. Councillor Philp. And second by Deputy Mayor Gibson. All in favor? Carried. 15.5, bylaw number 87-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 87-2022, being a bylaw to approve the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for the long-term financing of certain capital works of the Corporation of the Township of Almac Haldeman, known as the municipality, and to authorize the entering into a rate offer letter agreement pursuant to which the municipality will issue debentures to OILC, be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. And that's the long-term borrowing bylaw for Centerton Public Works edition. Mover. Councillor Hogg, second. Councillor Phil. All in favor? Carried. 15.6, bylaw number 88-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 88-2022, being a bylaw to repeal bylaw number 002-2019, being a bylaw to appoint municipal bylaw enforcement animal control officers for the Joint Animal Control Board, be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Mover. Deputy Mayor Gibson. Second, Councillor Hogg. All in favor? Carried. 15.7, and I have a question on this one after I get it read. Bylaw number 89-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 89-2022, being a bylaw to license, regulate, and govern short-term rental accommodations, be read and deemed to be passed the 7th day of July, 2022. Can I have a mover? Councillor Booth. Second, Deputy Mayor Gibson. Okay, I just wanted to ask a question. It says 3 times and they lose their license. So I just wanted clarification. It's 3 times, it's not 3 times in 1 year. Is that correct? Just like it could be 3 times over 2 years, but it doesn't start over when 1 year ends. But I was just trying to remember that to be correct. Is that what everybody feels?
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Carried. 15.8, bylaw number 90-2022. Be it resolved that bylaw number 90-2022, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 14-2022, being a bylaw to establish and prescribe fees and charges for services provided by the Township of Almac Haldeman, and to provide for interest charges and penalties thereon be read and deemed to be passed the 17th day of July, 2022. Over. Deputy Mayor Gibson, second. Councillor Booth. All in favor? Carried. So we're on to item 16, and the first one is announcements and notice of motions. And I'm the lead on this today. So I just would like to say, I did go to the Roseney Centennial Public School. I had the honor of presenting Ella Noonan the Almac Haldeman Civic Award. And she won that for all her work in 4-H and the things she does in the community. And this morning I got a letter I'd like to read. And it's from Eugene. But there wasn't the last name, but he's from, I'll read it and you'll understand it. As a member of the Ukrainian Canadian community and as a 3-season resident of Grafton, it was and continues to be very uplifting to see the flag of Ukraine flown outside Almac Haldeman's Town Hall. Thank you for this kind act of solidarity. Eugene. Well, there's his last name, Surakowski. So I did answer him back and say that we were happy to be able to support the Ukrainian community with such a big number of people who come here. That's it for what I have. Deputy Mayor Gibson.
Just want to let staff and council know that I am taking a family vacation, so will not be present at our July 21st council meeting.
Okay. Anything else? Councillor Phillip?
Two quick things. First of all, I'd like to thank staff and Jennifer Steen in particular for the organization of the Canada Day celebration. Thought it was well done and it was nice to be back involved in Canada Day celebrations once again. The second thing I wanted to mention was that the Enbridge Gas project for Haldeman Shores area seems to be well underway. There's lots of dialogue between residents and the company regarding installation, and there's a lot of door knocking going on and a lot of enthusiasm in the community. It seems to be all positive, and Enbridge is going out of their way to be positive and forward with the residents, which is nice. So I'm pleased to see that, and they seem to be very good ambassadors. So that's going well. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Booth?
Just a brief thank you again, as Councillor Phillip said, to Jennifer and the arena staff for a great day on Canada Day that was put forward, and hopefully next year I think we'll be able to do it again. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Hart?
Just the one thing. The Thumlin Cattlemen's dinner is tonight. My tickets are sold out, but I'm sure there's more at the door. And over the last year, we have donated 2,700 pounds to food banks in 11 different food banks across Northumberland County. And we presented a bursary for $1,000 to Caitlin Redner for her university. The stipulation is she must take one course of agriculture. And she is, I think she's going to Guelph, if I remember right. And the twilight meeting is next Wednesday night at the McComb Farm, just east of Castlin, that's the 13th, if anybody's interested.
Thank you. There are some tickets left. I had emailed Bonnie this morning. When's the dairy dinner? Do you know when that is?
So that's next week, twilight.
13th.
Oh, the twilight.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the dairy twilight.
Okay. I should tell you as well, I've already talked to Troy and Pat about it. I'm away the 13th to the 19th of July. You could be the boss, Mike, when Sherry and I are both away at the same time. Good luck. Okay. Item 17 is motion to recess to closed session. That the Council of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman will be recessing to a closed session under section 2392 to consider B, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, with the CAO, acting clerk, and deputy clerk remaining in attendance at 1:51 p.m.